Hi, I'm Amy Wolff, your speaker coach, and today we are coaching the CEO and chair of Salesforce, Mark Benioff, doing his opening keynote for their Dreamforce conference. Without further ado, here we go.
And now, our CEO and chair, Mr. Mark Benioff.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. I said good morning, everybody.
Okay. One of the first things I want to acknowledge is that he is the kickoff, meaning he is the energy. He has to bring this massive room of people in with him in this energizing opening. However, I think there's the temptation to get slightly performative as an opening keynote speaker and hear this, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. These 3 times he says the same line to rally up the crowd can feel a bit contrived. You'll hear it in the volume of his voice. It sounds a little bit like he's yelling. And so I'm going to note some of the speaking behaviors that are building a little bit of this performative persona. I think the intention is great to bring the energy. I think there are other ways a speaker can do that other than this kind of kitschy 3-line opening, repeating himself. Let's keep watching.
I said good morning, everybody. And aloha. Oh, no. Aloha.
Okay, I love this moment. And the reason why, I think it's really smart when speakers engage the room in a really flexible way. Meaning, he did this thing to the room and the room didn't respond. Hold on. He breaks script and he tells them to be all in. I love it when a speaker is interacting with what's happening in the room. It comes off really sincere and kind of unscripted. So here's a good balance to what might begin to look very scripted.
All right, a little better, but we're going to work on that later. Okay, good morning, everybody. We are so excited. This is going to be the biggest, most exciting Dreamforce ever. It is the agentic enterprise. It is incredible what is happening. Look at everybody in this room. How about giving yourselves a huge round of applause? Look at the room. Amazing.
A little weird giving the audience a round of applause for themselves, whatever. You will notice in his delivery, this finger pointing, elbows stuck at the rib cage. We call it a beat gesture. They bounce to the beat of his talking. And it just feels like nothing's grounded, nothing's calm and relaxed. It feels intense. And I would suggest that there is a way to bring energy through our facial expression. Yes, sometimes the volume of our voice, the inflections, the facial expression. And it doesn't require this kind of frantic delivery, always engaged and never relaxed. I think really great speakers have this combo of energy and calm and composure, and he's lacking a little bit on that second element. You'll notice his choice of walking around the room. Do you like that when speakers do it? I am indifferent sometimes. I don't think that a speaker in the round here, the stage is in the middle, you're going to see here in a moment. I think it's a really hard environment. Your back is always to somebody. And I don't love that. So I think he's trying to engage the room instead of staying static on stage, which I do love that. But at some point, it gets a little exhausting watching him walk the entire time. Again, missing something that feels a little bit more grounded.
And if this is your first Dreamforce, stand up and be welcome. Stand up if this is your first Dreamforce. Amazing. Welcome. Incredible. Welcome to everybody new. We're so happy to have you. Look, we are going to take the next hour. We are going to energize you, excite you, motivate you, inspire you.
Okay, this is super smart. Obviously, there's a teleprompter. Obviously, there's a script. Obviously, someone wrote this, and I'm sure he contributed. But this was super smart because he listed things in a sentence, and instead of it sounding like a script, thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, he didn't over punctuate it like we do when we read. He did it like this and like this and like this in his vocal delivery. So it sounded off the cuff that he was just rolling through naturally a few ideas. That's one way in our delivery that we can take something super scripted and make it sound conversational.
But the number one thing that we are going to do is Why am I doing the slides? You guys can do it.
Here's another great example of responding to the room, having the room engage with you.
We're going to thank you. We don't thank you enough. We know everything you do every day. We are so grateful to you. To you. We're grateful to you. We're grateful to each and every one of you. We're grateful to you.
It was so important that he comes off the teleprompter and actually looks at people during this section. So kudos to him. Off script, when you say thanks, think a person, not a teleprompter.
We're grateful. Come on, guys. We're grateful to you. Okay. All right. And.
Okay, here's an example of something funny happened in the room, but he camped on it too long. Okay, come on, guys. And then you could tell he was going to hedge something a little bit like, come on. And then he kind of continued on. He just camped on the levity of the moment a little too long where it got a little awkward. I would say cut whatever happened that wasn't ideal, people laughed at, just cut it more quickly and don't camp there too long.
To our customers, our trailblazers, our partners, our employees, our communities, our veterans, our nonprofits, all of our community groups, we're so grateful to have all of you here. We are so thrilled to have this Dreamforce, and we have got a great show for you today.
Okay, the combination of the vocal inflection, great, and the finger point and the volume, that moment just feels really contrived. And I think there's a softer way to do it that's not performative and still brings the energy. A
fantastic show. Look at all of these amazing speakers we have. We have Sundar, the minister from Saudi Arabia, Takedra, Brett, Matthew, Dario. We have so many people. It's unbelievable. And it is going to be an incredible.
Do you almost hear how he's out of breath? It's because what could be the constant walking, but also the excitement, the energy he's bringing. You can almost hear this overexertion, and that's where I'd say maybe just don't try so hard. Keep your expression, keep your gestures, keep your facial expression, your vocal variety, but you don't have to push so hard. It's actually showing up in his breathiness in his voice.
Event. We are going to have amazing discussions. We're going to go looking at the future of technology, and we're going to be looking at how you and all of us are going to come together in an incredible new way. And yes, we've raised another $9 million for the Children's Hospital, reaching $130 million. Amazing.
When you share a massive statistic like $130 million, you should put a period. Pause, take a beat, let it sit in the room, let that number linger. Instead, here's a statistic. Isn't that amazing? Keep going with this really quick pace because I have a short keynote and a lot to get through. Don't miss opportunities for pause, specifically with data points that are supposed to be really meaningful.
Our team has done an amazing job, and that amazing job is they have 1,500 sessions for you. 1,500 sessions. We expect you to go to each and every one of them.
I love levity. I love it so much. I love cracks here or there. I love this line. I think it's smart. I think we can overdo it. I don't hear him doing that.
Okay. We also have Agentforce City this year. You're going to love Agentforce City. It's amazing what you can do there. See all the customers, what they're doing with agent tech.
Now, his gestures got a little bit better. So instead of just bouncing gestures, when he said all agencies, he used this gesture that actually is meaningful. It goes with his content versus just moving for the sake of moving. We should all aim for more meaningful gestures instead of just anxious energy gestures.
Technology. Anybody here already using Agentforce? Raise your hands.
Great audience connection.
Amazing. Okay, so now, this company was built on core values. Trust, customer success, innovation, equality, sustainability.
Super important
now, a couple
that he paused after each one to make sure the core things are heard. So great adjustment on pace and pausing there.
A couple weeks ago, feels like a couple days ago, one of our closest friends, one of my closest personal friends died.
Another meaningful gesture. So the hands went up into the chest. Anytime we touch our chest is perceived as a deep sign of sincerity. And here it went naturally with him talking about someone dear to him that they lost. And so this gesture makes a whole lot of sense and it's more meaningful.
She was here last year. She's been here for the last several years. And she was here to talk to us each and every year about sustainability. And right now, what I want to do is I want to put all of our political situations aside.
Really great, meaningful gesture. Now you can see the difference, hopefully. And also, he's addressing a little bit of the elephant in the room. And I think leaders who are communicating keynotes on stages or in meetings, anytime you can just name the elephant in the room, the political environment that people are showing up with these thoughts and opinions and news feeds, I love that he's talking about it, and then he's going to pivot and move the conversation forward.
And all of our divisiveness, and just come together as one ohana right now.
Do you think this conference is happening in Hawaii? I don't know.
One ohana, and hear the parting words from one of our closest friends who can be here only this year in this video. Please welcome Jane Goodall. Jane was here every year because she believed, as we all believe, that business can be the...
I want you to notice that in between some of the bigger gestures, he comes back to this center, and it's the clicker. It can be like a totem. It can be a grounding physical item. Unfortunately, what we tend to do is use it to get in defensive posture. Instinctively, when a speaker feels uncomfortable or in the spotlight, under pressure, we physically guard ourselves subconsciously with our hands. So we come back, default to the center. We might gesture, come back to the center. Might do something, come back to the center. And there's all kinds of nervous habits that we can develop here in the center. Instead, really relaxed looking presenters or speakers relax their arms down at their side. John Chambers was really great at this when he spoke or does speak, resting at your side instead of defaulting to this kind of guarded center. Holding that clicker is not helping him because he's using it as this totem in the center as well. I love control, so I always want to hold a clicker, but I'm going to act as if it's not there and make sure that I don't have some sort of behavior around it.
Greatest platform for change. 26 years ago, we put 1% of our equity, our profit, our time into a 501c3 foundation.
Makes a mistake. Who cares? He moves on, so do we.
It was very easy at the time. We had no equity, profit, or time.
Levity.
But now we've given away almost $1 billion. We run 62,000 nonprofits and NGOs for our service on free, and we've done over 10
Don't love the and. Feels a little salesy.
10 million hours of volunteerism. We also have done over $300 million in reskilling, training, $150 million for our local San Francisco and Oakland public schools. How many
Do you hear his breathiness again?
of you have already adopted a public school in your neighborhood? Raise your hands.
Love this.
Oh, not enough. Not enough.
Again, in the moment, responding to what's happening in the room. And what that translates to as an audience is he's super present. He's engaging with us. He's responding with us instead of it in his own world on stage talking at us.
Now's the time, more than ever, I can tell you, especially because of COVID.
Don't love his finger pointing. If he became a politician, they would fix that right away.
The kids today, especially the ones who are in middle school, those kids who are in their elementary school during COVID, they didn't get that reading and writing training that all of us had.
You notice he's off the teleprompter now. He's talking a little bit more off the cuff to the room. When he needs to make sure he gets the statistic right, you can tell he glances down at a monitor, but then he comes right back into the room to people, having conversations with people. I actually think this is a great rhythm. Look down when you need a statistic, look down when you need your next bullet point, and then come back up and confidently share it with the room.
Now's the time to go back, to mentor, to help, to adopt your local public school. I've done it, and I recommend all of you do it.
I wish he named his school. I wish he was a little bit more specific, maybe when he visited the school and the impact it had. I know he has a lot of remarks to get through, but anytime that you can visualize something through a story, or the audience can visualize what you're doing through your telling of a story, it's much more impactful than I did, you should. It's in May. I met with 21 first graders. It just would have been more impactful.
As well. One more thing. Not only did we do our 111 model, but 19,000 people followed us into that journey and have given away $3 billion of philanthropy already. Incredible. We want to thank all of those
Again, I wish there was a pause to let that number just wow the room.
people for adopting the 111 model as well. They believe, like we do, that we're doing well and we are doing good. And you can see this as we go to the $40 billion this year in revenue, hard to believe, and with our core values intact, with our primary vision intact, which is to connect with our...
There's some things that are happening here that I think are super smart. Do you notice there's not a lot of industry jargon? There's not a lot of big terminology or even long-winded sentences. Short bits of information, shorter sentences, one idea per sentence. I actually love the cadence of this, and that is not long-winded or full of jargon, especially at an industry conference where that's really easy.
Customers in a whole new way. Now, it's been an amazing 26 years. The rate and growth of innovation, it's
Better gesture.
awesome what has happened. And we've seen that innovation go forward over and over and over again. But one thing that I noticed, especially in the last year, especially since we were last here together, and maybe you've had the same experience, I notice when I'm at home,
Audience-centric language, maybe you've noticed too.
I'm on my phone, I'm working with these large language models. Okay, what am I doing? I'm kind of going, I'm using this amazing consumer technology. Wasn't so unlike 26 years ago when I was at home, I was working on Amazon, I was working on Google, I was working on eBay. But then when I got to the office, my experience was very different. Is that your experience too? That is, we have amazing consumer technology on our phones, working with these amazing AI models and all this amazing technology. But when we get to the office, when we get to business, are we have that same level of power now? I don't think we do. You see, I really think this is the...
I'm not a big fan of the word you see or the phrase you see. The reason why is it can sound a little bit condescending. The next word, whatever came next, that's where I would launch the sentence. I think we want to bring attention. I think the intention might be great. I don't love the impact.
Next revolution. We've gone through cloud, we've gone through mobile, we've gone through social, we've gone through predictive AI, and now we're entering this new agentic AI revolution. And we are going to explore it in depth at this show over the next 3 days, and it is going to be magic. Now, the agentic revolution, there's no...
You'll notice he starts a lot of his sentences with now, similar to what I just shared. I would pick the next word and make sure it's not a filler to start your sentence. Now, as a mental transition for him. So I would pluck it out, be a little bit more sharp.
Question, it is here. And you're going to see it over and over again. And when you get to the trade show, when you get into Agentforce City, you're going to see how all these customers have deployed this technology. It's really incredible what has happened. Okay, so.
Almost at the top of, would you say all his sentences? Most of his sentences?
Let's talk to really one of the leaders in this area. Let's get a quick insight into the very core of the foundation models. We're going to have an amazing interview. Let's talk to Brad Lightcott. Brad, stand up.
He said Brad's name a little fast. There are slides so people can read it too, but be careful with names. They tend to fly off our tongue, including our own. Slow and clear on names, phrases, acronyms, product names, your title and position. Be careful of your phrasing of the pace of certain phrases. Generally, I think his pace is great. It's full of energy, but not too fast. It's super clear, but I would be careful here while he introduces people to the room. We're going to pause here today because he then stops for a minute or two with different individuals in the room. Spoiler alert, if you have not seen this, one is a robot, which is pretty funny. Overall, here is some feedback that I would give Mark. One, there's a little bit of a dance that I would suggest he continue finding a good balance of, which is energy and bringing the energy and owning that as the kickoff and CEO, but making sure it doesn't come across as performative. There's a lot of pushing he's doing through his voice and the constant walking that leaves him breathy. And The finger pointing, endless finger pointing. The word I'd use is just intense. I would soften that a little, open the arms, drop them at his side, then use meaningful gestures instead of just bouncing gestures or pointing gestures that just look a little performative. His variety in his voice is great. I wish he paused more with certain statistics to let it really land in the room. I love moments of levity. I love that he makes a mistake and doesn't care and keeps going. There's some great things happening too. I hope this video offered you some tips as well. Of course, if you want more information, you can find out about our work at distinctioncommunication.com. Until next time.